under this lockdown, I was really seeing a lot of things that eventually are likely to happen if we just are not careful. At this time, me talking about adapting to change is the environment of home. I'm a parent, I have children, and I expected well for them. We trusted systems like education. Now that education can't do anything. Uh, it comes to my realization that what the scripture confirms of us taking our responsibility as parents is true. There was a time I was quoting some things in Facebook, and there are people who would oppose me on the idea of staying at home with your children and teaching them life. Most of our children don't know life. They assume that we tend to have our children and we still take them into an incubated system. We assume that let them just be in an environment that they can't easily experience the hardship and whatever. They are now experiencing it. It brings to my attention, for example, children who have been in a country where people are fighting, grown-ups are busy fighting through and through. They don't even care if they are going to eat or not. You are in a country where, yes, there was a system. That system has said, we don't know what to do. We hope, we wait that things will go back to normalcy, and then we go back to the old system. Does it mean that the life of my child doesn't go on? This brings to my attention the idea of us defining education or redefining it again. I think me as a teacher, for the years I've come to realize that education is not what I thought. It's not the routine of going to school and getting a job and living a good life. No. I believe true education is learning yourself, is learning from within, is pulling out the value that is within you, that gift that God has, the Creator had put in you as a human being. Most of the humanity in this world, every human being was created unique as a piece of a solution to another. So the solution we are looking for, yes, we can cry to God, but He's saying that the answer is with us. I love some scientists like Albert Einstein, who says that you can't use the same thought that brought you into the problem. You can't use it again to solve a problem. You can't use it to solve the problem. You will stick there. We've gotten ourselves in a problem, but our level of thinking is still the same. We don't want to change our thinking. We don't want to change our perception. Our children are going to be at home for quite a long time. And there's a likelihood of no recover, even if they are taken back to school, whatever directive. The government is not giving us solutions. They are just giving directives with not really considering what adverse effects are likely to happen. Socially, as we speak now, young people who have been at home for 2 or 3 months, they are not reading. They are not telling, I'm a teacher. No one calls to find out, okay, how do I prepare here? It simply means that our education is not really effective as we thought it was. It is an instrument, yes, it is a tool, but it is not effective. It doesn't shape up men to live life as we want them to live. And I think that's where now we should come up with another approach of redefining education. That's why I'm saying I'm redefining education, that it should be learning from within. At home, what will the children learn? As a teacher, I've come for the years of experience. I've learned that most of our learners don't really learn what we tell them. They really learn how we lead our lifestyle. Our children now are not really learning so much of what we will tell them. Stay at home, wash your hands. No, they will learn how we behave. You're telling them to stay at home. You're going to work. You're going to look for food out there. You're saying, okay, I'm looking for you food. But you've not sat down and taught them, what if they are also going to come across such a situation? Will they solve it the way you are solving it? Or will there be another way? Are we really preparing our children to live life or to lead better lives than ours, or we are just allowing them to live also with the same fear we are living? What are we really teaching our children? If we want the best of our children, is we have to expose them to life. I've learned this when I watched the documentary of a lion and the cubs and the lioness with the cubs when they are hunting. The lioness will not hide the cubs and tell them, stay here, I'll bring you food. No. It takes them and shows them how they hunt. Until these cubs have grown and they have come strong, they start their training. But the training starts immediately when they are born and they're able to see. So the mother and will keep them somewhere hidden, and they will see how they attack and how they lead life. And they embrace that. Learning is always effectual when we have the apprentice being taught, or a mentor and a mentee in the session of learning. They must see our life. We must set an example for them so that they can actually, by the time we are running the race, when we are passing on the baton, they are able to actually run better and do greater service to humanity than we would have done. But as much as you're living now, you must be willing to now prepare, to now also expect this change, that it will now be you to take the changes as they are and adapt with them and begin actually uh, incorporating the actual sense of education in the life. For us, education was created one status. We loved getting degrees and for status, so that maybe our parents or ourselves will talk about, oh, I studied in this university, I got first honors, and these are things that we want to talk about, and our children have copied these things. But the problem with them, these are titles. They are not actual effective in helping solving our problem. Even if you have a PhD or even a degree in medicine or whatever, or even in law, how is it now helping now? How is it helping? How is it really solving our problem? Fine, we are told to appreciate those who are in the front line now, trying to help those who are having the disease of the COVID-19. But also, we should appreciate that teachers are not just looking at, not all teachers are looking at things the way the way others are looking at them. I know many people are saying, this fine. I know students are very happy and they are praying. In fact, their prayer is that this thing continues and that exam shouldn't come. Yes, we've been told that some people will have to repeat, but I'm kind of shocked if our education system couldn't come up with contingencies. Looking at our way of life, it's that we were not really prepared. And all the time, we should learn from this. Even if then it goes away, we should learn that we should always be preparing, have contingencies, have contingencies. That means when time comes, we will have enough to protect ourselves. If winter comes, like this is like just some kind of a disaster that is affecting everything. So we should actually come up with systems that are immune to actually handling. And one of the areas I think is education. Education should not have been stopped. Learning should continue. How should learning continue? We should be able to support initiatives that are better. We've been discussing this with other friends of mine, and I was finding it interesting that some people still believe on brick and mortar as a way of making education much better. That's why I realized that our 3/4 of our school fees, what does it go for? It's build classes, and I've been in schools where there are no libraries, they are building classrooms, they are busy buying buses, and they are not equipping whatever is essential. So if then we have materials, we have books, and we want our economy to grow. I think our economy will grow when we have skillful personnel, we have learned people, and the only way we have to do that is by actually investing in our education. It is creating a conducive environment for us to learn and adapt to grow Research is now not being. I'm wary. I'm worrying. I'm concerned that we want to be given numbers, but we're never being given headways of what is likely to be happening in case uh, we are looking for solutions for this problem. Will we continue to wash our hands with sanitizers? Will we continue making sanitizers? There are people who are sitting somewhere, maybe looking at this COVID-19 and testing and finding if there are remedies. Yeah, we should be able to come to a place where when this comes, we are prepared. And I think the world should be able to also look at it that way. Education, as I look at it, has not been uh, worldwide, it has not been taken into consideration. Yet we are busy talking about other ways by which we're able to actually deal with this problem to ensure that we have normalcy. Even if then this COVID-19 disappears and then and the curves goes down and people go back to normalcy. Now the figures are at 3 million. We have 300 and something thousand people already dead, and when I look at that, when it comes from the media, it's not a solution. It's more of a of trying to put people in what we call status quo. So we need to come out strongly to address the issue of education to our children. They have a future, they have a life, and that life continues. Yes, I want them to be fed well, but I need us as individuals. Government can have their big structures there, but you can sit down in your house, look at your children, and they face them and begin teaching them life. Yeah, I was reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I was shocked that the way they look at, for example, a simple thing like homework. For us, homework is work that we bring home from our employer, and students from what they have been given by teachers. But to these rich people, homework, Rich Dad's homework was sitting with his family at the table, at the dinner table, and they come up with a business, they come up with a solution, they come up with something that will be. So are we sitting with our families to come up with solutions? What type of people are we sitting down with them and trying to look at this issue? How do we go around it? Discuss it with your children. Let them be able to see that they are going to be in a future where such things come and there is a possibility there is no vaccine. Everybody was living in a world where there is an assumption that no disease will defeat them. HIV has come up to now. No cure has been found apart from the ARVs that we are being given to hoping. And I think sometimes also these things, when I look at them, I also come to realize that the first defense that God put in man, that is your immunity, is much more better than even the medicine that we rely on. And that's the beauty of God. And when I read these scriptures, he says he sent his word and healed our disease. And so when I'm looking at it, I am believing God for more. So in our education, what I'm saying before I maybe digress is, how are we addressing education? And I think the best way we should have addressed education is, parents, if you have children, get the materials yourself. Sit down with your children and patiently learn with them. Talk to them. Tell them that your life has to continue, even if we grown-ups are not making sense of the situation. We are also confused. We must admit, let us not behave as if we are the ones who know. They are looking at us and they are saying, even my father and my mother can be confused. Even the president of the country, even people get confused. And they are really finding it really interesting. So we need to sit down candidly and sit down seriously with our families. Make your home a library. Buy books. One of the challenge I've always had is when I go to homes, I find it very interesting. There's a big TV. They have nice sofa sets. There's a music system. But then there is no place, no space for books, nothing. Typically, if you are such a guy that your house looks like is a club or an entertainment place, don't expect your child to study. Don't expect your child to see sense. I like one of great leaders who passed away used to say, how do you sit down and tell your children switch off the TV and do something serious, read, and you you sit there, you in fact, let me not you sit there and you're also doing nothing. Yeah, you're not reading, or you are they are watching TV and you come and you're telling them get to do something serious, and you sit there and you watch TV. I'm not saying watching TV is bad. We need news, we need information, we need entertainment, yes, to try and cool us off. But will we be cooled for and not be productive? Yeah. So our education must be able to look at these issues and we address them and create change for them. Let us adapt to the change now. If we're going to be teaching our children from home, we do that. Let us look at IT systems that are solution oriented in helping us uh, develop our children by introducing tools. Parents are giving us excuses that some of us, yes, in Africa, it's at large that people talk about as having technology, and at the same time, we have a large number of people who are not reached by the same technology. It doesn't mean that we cannot actually see that. I think it's just a perception, it's a mind thing that some of us have just decided that I don't need technology, and that's it. And so when it comes to the idea of trying to help them, you find because of the way their mentality is or the way they are thinking, it's difficult. But if then we want to create change and we know that there's change, there are things we have to embrace. I'll want to teach my students using this technology, sitting down and maybe explaining to them some of these things and pointing to how they can use it in life as they grow. Let us also try and look at our education differently. Our education has become so narrow in that it has only focused on you pass the exam so that we can give you a space. So it's like a scramble kind of a thing. And so it's not a place where people have opportunity to live life. There are people who like last year where we had students who when the results came out they just decided to commit suicide. So you see, in such a scenario we have to change some of these things. Our education is not really that effective. It's not really produced people who are develop minded. It has produced so much of people who are complainers, blamers, judgmental and cunning, corrupt, and all that kind of a thing. The character that we develop in people today is not straightforward. Our students feel like uh, they don't need exams. They feel that being tested is something that should not be there. But how will we actually at the end of the day approve that whatever you have been acquiring or whatever you've been learning is of effectual use to you? And I think that's why every person goes to a test. Even in the sport, when you're training, how effective are you so that you win the title? Do you think you're just going to walk on the title? No, you have to be preparing yourself. You have to prepare yourself. And I think I can also use that, as Paul says, we must be always preparing ourselves. We must not live life just complacently, hoping that things will just come that way. There is a place where you have to be tested. And testing is not bad. You are tested so that you grow to the next level, you move to the next level. So what I'm calling you to do is everybody should look at this change and adapt to it by bringing solutions that are more home friendly. Make your home a place where your children can grow. Teach them life. Let them know that they can still live their dream. Some people have gone home with a narrow mind. God is coming, and some are maybe even closing curtains, switching off light, and they are saying, "We just wait, stand and wait." No, I'm not saying you stand and the waiting won't help. Preparing will. So how you will prepare is how we will actually be able to actually meet this. But if we wait, it's like you're standing in front of a storm and expecting that it will pass away. No, it will sweep you. So the only way to do it is prepare. So like where there are storms in the part of the world like in America where they have been experiencing such storms. You'd find houses are built with bunkers, where now in case the house is swept, they still have enough and they stock. So they are always preparing, they're anticipating. In case there are fires, they're anticipating. As what do we do? Yes, it is affecting some of those countries, and it's affecting them because they were not prepared. Some of them, the attention was driven somewhere else. And now when they realize it was too late, it doesn't mean that we cannot as well be preparing. Even if we are hard hit, we start now investing in such key areas. So education is one of the most important, and in fact it is the vital center or core of actually how we run our nation. And so we need to look at it from the homely part of view. If we can't make our home a place where learning can be conducted, and I'm not talking about the learning where you wait for the teacher to give you some materials. No, I want you to create your own systems where you teach your children life. You have enough experience of whatever you've gone through in life and what you would prefer. So you sit down with them and teach them. You take time. If you feel that still going to work, why are you going to that work when you know very well it is risky? Why are you doing that? Yeah. Yes, you're saying it's for them, but really the greatest of all investments, I believe, as a wise person, is and I've read this in other books, is not really so much the toys, the house, the wealth, the whatever material thing you have that you give your children, or even the protection that you give them. No, one of the greatest is the intellectual property that you have acquired, that those wisdom nuggets that you've acquired about life, those crystal things. And I think if you read The Richest Man in Babylon, the richest man, the son comes to him, and the father gives him gold, and also at the same time he gives him a scroll or a tablet that has some 10 laws of being rich. And this guy goes with the money and he keeps off the tablet and the information in it, later to realize that when he has already lost everything, he comes back to that knowledge of the knowledge that the father had given him, and he realizes that this is the steps, and he uses them to actually also um, uh, bring himself or restore himself back after he had lost everything. So we must look at our education afresh and redefine it, not the way we've always looked at it. Education is not really so much of an event. It is so much of a process. It's something that has to be done every day. It's like the oxygen we take. We learn everything. Your organism is learning to adapt with the change. Yeah. Every day you are learning to adapt by the foods, the lifestyle, and everything is still learning. So why should we stop to learn even the things, so that when we anticipate this change, we will be evolving, will be transforming into better ways of doing things, and also still living life at large. We shouldn't actually look at this as the end of humanity. Hallelujah.